What up, Vibers? It's Kai, and I want to send a massive welcome to all of you that are listening and watching from all around the world. Whether you're in Philly or Barcelona or anywhere in between, welcome to the season 6 finale of the Vibe with Kai podcast. I am so psyched for you to hear this conversation because we are ending this season, we are ending this year with a bang. Today, I'm sitting down with the incredible Theresa Lear Levine. She is an EFT master practitioner, a certified hypnotherapist, and the international best-selling author of Becoming More Me. If you ever felt like success just feels more like exhaustion in disguise, or if you are an ADHD entrepreneur who is constantly white-knuckling your way through the day, you need this episode. Theresa breaks down how to use tapping, also known as EFT, to actually regulate our nervous system so we can stop living in survival mode. What I love is that she takes these like woo-woo concepts and she backs them with science in order to show us how to finally get out of our own way. Theresa also has some amazing resources, including her book and her special community for people just like us, and a link to all of those things are right down in the show notes. But before we dive into the episode, do me a huge favor. Make sure you are following me at The Vibe with Kai on all major social media platforms. Also, head on over to thevibewithkai.com and check out my digital store. I've got ADHD guidebooks and audiobooks and deep dive videos specifically designed to help you navigate the chaos of adult ADHD. And if you want to support the show even more and get even more content, come join me on Patreon. For only $5 a month, you get exclusive access to premium content, including a special segment from this episode with Theresa, where she actually performs some tapping, some EFT therapy on me. And it's exclusive for all of my Patreon subscribers. My friends, thank you so much for riding with me through these 6 amazing seasons and hundreds of episodes. Listen, I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Now, settle in and enjoy this incredible conversation with Theresa Lear Levine.
Hi, Theresa. Happy Saturday to you.
Hey, Kai. Happy Saturday to you too. I'm so excited to
Yeah,
be here. Thanks for having me.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking right before we started recording about how much we love theme parks and roller coasters and stuff. And you said you went to Hershey Park, which is one of my favorite parks. One of my favorite rides there. Sky Rush. It's a
Ooh, it's a
great
good
great
one.
ride.
Although I've got to
It's a
say, I'm
fantastic
totally
ride.
in love with Candemonium these days.
Candemonium was low key was low key fun though. Well, Wildcat's Revenge I think will probably take the cake as the best ride there for many
sure.
reasons. Yeah, but that's good. So I always love when I'm able to speak with somebody that understands the roller coaster world that I constantly find myself in, and
Yeah,
all of that.
I
Yeah,
love
and
it.
did you go there with your family?
I did. I did. We
Yeah,
were at
yeah,
Disney earlier this year, Hershey
yeah,
Park a few weeks ago. I'm a mom of
yeah,
4 boys. My youngest is
yeah.
8, my oldest is 20, and they all thankfully enjoy the thrill.
I
So
love it.
that's a lot of fun. In fact, our trip to Disney earlier this year was probably our 4th or 5th since we've, had the family and all the
Yeah.
kids. It was the first time that we could all go on all of the rides.
That must have been the
So,
best feeling.
yes,
Oh
we
my
did not
gosh.
have to divide and conquer and, do all the
Yeah.
swaps and
Like
everything
the swaps,
else.
yeah.
It was so much more fun, and we
Yeah.
loved, Guardians of the Galaxy. It was like the family
Yes, at
favorite.
Epcot. Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Every
Yeah.
every time Everybody Wants to Rule the World comes on the radio, we're all
Yeah.
we're all just
Yeah.
back on that ride, spinning around,
Yeah.
and
Oh, I
yeah.
love it. I love it. So as a mom of 4 boys, I mean, when do you have time to breathe? Like is it difficult? Because there's a lot of moms that listen to the show. There's a lot of moms that follow me, and I truly do think moms are superheroes because I don't know how you do what you do, but when do you find time to just breathe for you?
It's a good question, and some days I don't have the answer for that,
Sure,
but
sure. Yeah, 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 yeah.
it's my kids and it's the family that probably have made me strive for, figuring out things with my ADHD, excelling in my business, wanting to
Yeah.
create that legacy and have even more purpose and reason for doing
Mhm.
it. And I guess I've learned that if you want something done, give it to a mom with a bunch of kids.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll
and
get done and then some.
exactly. So I used to worry that it would impact my ability to do things, but it's really interesting. It makes me more aware of the time I do or don't have, which,
Sure.
gosh, time management. I don't even know if time management's actually a thing. Time's this human
Time
construct.
is,
And
yeah,
it's all very like,
it's just
but
not real anymore, especially after COVID. I just feel like time is just not a thing anymore.
yeah, but they make me more aware of it. taking
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
And I do
You
really believe that awareness is how we, improve anything.
Oh, sure, absolutely, absolutely. You talk about, I can see it over your shoulder too, the becoming more me, picture there. You talk a lot about obviously becoming more me, and I'm curious, what did the, I guess, less you version look like before all of this transformation started for you?
Interesting question. And I think I've always been me. Like, I mean, it's just we're
Sure.
always in that process. So I think, one of the taglines for my book is that I'm trying to help people to enjoy getting
Mhm.
present for the never ending journey of becoming. Because no matter what level we get to, there's always another one, right? But,
Mhm.
I love seeing the full circle moments because, growing up, I definitely had ADHD. It wasn't diagnosed until I was 42, but,
Sure.
it was definitely there, and that little girl loved to write songs, play music.
Mhm.
I had my own library in the basement the books I
Yeah.
wrote, books me and my friends wrote, and things like
Yeah.
that, and it wasn't until I started this business, this iteration of my business in 2020, that I realized how many things were coming full circle. Like, maybe I wasn't writing songs anymore or
Mhm.
performing in that way, but I was writing hypnotherapy for people
Mhm.
that was like a song that spoke to their subconscious. And then
Yeah.
becoming an international best-selling author after writing all
Yeah.
those little books in my basement. Those were
Yeah.
ways that I felt myself becoming more me. But then there
Yeah.
was also a version that played smaller. I ended up having car accidents in my late teens, early 20s, ended up on disability, ended up in my first marriage, which was definitely not a match made in heaven.
Mhm.
My first child born of that marriage. And I had a lot of low self-worth, and, I made decisions and choices from that place instead of a more confident place, and your confidence can only grow to the capacity of your own self-worth. So that's
Right.
always going to be a limiting factor. So
Right.
there were a lot of ways that I played small, and that smaller version of me has learned to become and grow in new ways.
Right, and you grew into and you describe yourself as an ADHD entrepreneurial mom, which I love. So, I mean, I'm curious when you say that you're an ADHD entrepreneurial mom, what does a day in that brain look like from the inside?
How long is this podcast?
It's like where do I even begin?
It's thinking about all the things all day long, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's also part of the journey is learning how to, like, compartmentalize a little bit more. I mean,
sure,
the
yeah,
days are
yeah.
full. 3 of my kids still live under this roof. They
Mm-hmm.
all I mean, 4 kids in 4 different schools with 4 different schedules.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
it's like 2 hours of getting people ready and on different buses in the morning. And that's if the buses come, because there's issues sometimes with that. So having to just, like,
Oh
move on the
gosh.
fly. It's better than it was during COVID, but still, there's some days when it's just like, "Oh, hey, your bus isn't coming," and you've got, like, 10 minutes to figure it out and get your kid to school.
Oh, okay.
So there's the morning sequence of things. I'm an early
Yeah,
riser, and I know, I think I saw somewhere you're more of a late night.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm a night owl. I've never been a morning person. I
So that's
can't do it.
exactly how I
I've tried.
was before kids. So
Mm,
but somewhere around kid number 2, maybe, it was
okay.
like, "Okay, if I'm actually going to have time for myself, time for my dreams, time for my vision, and time to really do the things that I wanna do, there's
Mhm.
pretty much only one way we're gonna do that, and everybody is gonna still keep their sanity, and that's if I
Yeah.
learn how to get up earlier." And I think I remember it was sometime around, the time when, Mel Robbins had her, like, 5-second rule come out or
Mm,
whatever, and
mhm,
I think I
mhm.
5-second ruled myself out of bed a few mornings, and then I was like, "You know what? This is actually pretty nice." It's like, now I just gotta get
Yeah.
the whole going to bed earlier thing on my side, which
Yeah.
it was an adjustment, but I would say it was, like, less than a month of really kind of maneuvering things, and it has been so worthwhile. I mean, you'll probably cringe since you're a late night person, but I'm up, like, 4 AM every morning.
I can't
So
my coworker Zach is just like that. And now like he's done it like pretty much his entire adult life, and now he'll just get up at 4. I went with him to Orlando. We flew out so we can go to the new Epic Universe together.
fun.
And like the park doesn't open till 10. And so we were going to do breakfast and then go to the park, and I'm like, "Okay, well, let's meet up for breakfast at like 8, 8:30." And he's like, okay, cool. And so we go to breakfast. I'm like, hey, good morning. He's like, good morning. I'm like, what time did you get up today? And because he just naturally gets up at 4 during the work week, and this is a Saturday. And he's like, oh, I got up around like 5. I'm like, on purpose? He's like, it's just my body is just like up. So like he had like a full day already before I before I even got to breakfast. I want to be a
Yeah.
morning person. I do. I've
Yeah.
tried it. I just can't. I've tried. I
Yeah,
tried
I
my
mean, it's
hardest.
not for everybody, and I'm not here to sell it for sure, but for me, it's made a huge difference. I mean,
Yeah,
if you can
yeah.
rock the other end of the clock, and I don't do you have any children or
I have 2 cats. That's
2
so
cats? Okay.
I'm
So, I mean,
good.
I think that if I didn't have kids, I'd
Mhm.
probably love being a night owl. My
Sure.
mom always was. She is still, like, in her 70s. She would rather stay up
Yeah.
late and sleep in, but, like, her
Yeah.
schedule allows that. My
Mhm.
my life, the life I wanted to create and everything else didn't allow that, and I could
Right,
have, like,
right.
drug my feet and stayed up late with, the
Yeah.
revenge screen time and all that other
Yeah.
stuff and
Yeah.
whatever, but I was like, "Okay, there's gotta be a better way." And for me,
Yeah.
the early mornings just became that,
Right.
and really
Well,
the only time when I could guarantee I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna have a
right.
routine. I mean, I am a bit of a creature of habit, so
That's fair. That's fair. I think that's important to like to establish though, right? Like because you've personally said that success used to feel like exhaustion and dissatisfaction in disguise, right? Can we unpack that a little bit because I find that really interesting. Can you unpack what that means and what finally shifted for you?
Okay, so I was really conditioned in that whole, like, prove yourself, hustle, strive kind
Sure.
of
Yeah.
mentality. I think a lot of us are, where
Hmm.
it's really easy to be hard on ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a lot harder to be easy on ourselves. And we also aren't usually given the understanding or knowing that things can be so much better and more
Mm,
fun and joyful and actually even
mhm,
more productive when we rest more.
mhm,
A lot of, like we were talking about beforehand, productive and busy are opposites.
mhm,
It's
mhm,
not the same thing.
mhm,
And for me, I used to try to just, like, cram so much into them. My to-do lists were ridiculous. I mean, they still are.
sure.
Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I still have so many things I want to do, but I'm a lot more realistic about what actually can fit into a 24-hour day, and
Mhm,
then the compound gains of trusting that what I set up for myself yesterday, what me from yesterday told me from today to do is what I need to do instead
mhm,
of coming up with my own agenda and
mhm,
and straying from the path. So, yeah, it used to be really exhausting, and it was a combination of, like, lack mindset too,
yeah.
and feeling like I was, like, never where I was supposed to be, or kind of like what could be versus what should be in air quotes, and that
Mhm,
kind of a thing. So, we can put ourselves in a position where, yeah, we can get to a certain level of success. People get to high levels of success, hustling, striving, pushing, really digging into that masculine energy, which I'm great at.
mhm, mhm,
And you can get there, but then once you do, at some point you realize, I don't wanna maintain this. Like,
sure. Mhm,
this isn't really how I see myself living out the next half of my life or whatever,
mhm,
and I want something better that feels better, and yeah, and then I wanna share it
mhm.
with people.
Right. No, it makes sense. And so I want to dive into EFT and hypnotherapy here because I know that there's like it's EFT and hypnotherapy can sound intimidating to people who've never tried it, who aren't familiar with it. So I want to start there. How would you explain what it actually is to someone who isn't familiar with it or may be intimidated by it, someone who maybe even side eyes it as something that's just not for them? How would you explain it to them?
Yeah, so, like, there's what it is, and then there's what it
Hmm.
does.
Sure.
So,
Hmm.
what it is a combination of ancient Chinese wisdom, thousands of
Hmm.
years old, and then modern day psychology. Okay. I know a lot of people that come into my world often will tell me that, I've done talk therapy for years. I just still feel like I'm repeating the same patterns and, sure, it feels
Hmm.
good to get it off my chest, but
Hmm.
there I am back there doing it again. And with EFT, we get to talk to the problem and also release these energetic blockages. So the foundation of any dis-ease that we have, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, is a blockage in our energy. And if you think about acupuncture, acupressure, deep tissue massage, all of those modalities use acupoints on our body, right? And they use
Mhm.
them to release things that don't feel good, right? If you go in for your back hurts,
Mhm.
we're releasing
Sure.
the energy that's creating that. It's no different with blocked energy that happens from traumas earlier in life or other
Mhm.
things that we've been through. So tapping is like emotional acupuncture without any needles, thank goodness. Although we can get you over the fear of needles if that's something that you have using the very modality I'm talking about. So you
Sure,
tap
sure.
on these different parts of the body while you talk about what's stressing you out or causing some kind of
Mhm.
charge or trigger or whatever else. And the cool thing that happens when we do that, because that's the part that people, okay, whatever, we're talking, we're tapping, woo. But we send a signal as we do that to the amygdala, that tiny little part of the brain that's fight, flight, freeze, flop. I've got some
Yeah.
other F's that I think also come up there too, but I don't know if we curse on the show or not.
We
Um,
you're in a safe space, trust me, you're good.
okay. So a lot of different reactions, right?
Yes,
Some would say
yes.
trauma
Mhm.
responses or whatever else. We get to send this calming signal there first as we do that, which allows us to restore choice, clarity,
Mhm.
rationality, and new perspective on things. So it's kind of a really great mind body tool where you can use these different points to work on whatever's bothering you, help people
Mhm.
work through money blocks, past traumas, different stuff with ADHD that's getting in their way,
Yeah.
focus, even weight loss and other things. You can actually change the way that your genes express themselves with
Mm.
this technique. Like, it's
Right.
deep. So, it's got a lot of scientific backing for anybody that thinks it's woo, and then for people like me that also embrace the woo, have a lot of fun with it too.
Oh,
So,
sure. Mhm.
why not? But you can look at it very rationally and scientifically and it works, or you can look at it more on the woo side and it also works.
Right, right. You talk a lot about and I put this in quotes here, nervous system nourishment, right?
Mm.
Which I love, and how that and the subconscious mind work together, right? Why do you think that so many high achievers ignore those two things until they're burnt out?
I think the first and the biggest reason is they don't understand what a big lever that is that they're not
Yeah,
pulling. Like
yeah,
nobody's teaching us in preschool, grade school, high school, even college, unless we're enrolling in certain classes, that the subconscious mind is controlling the largest portion of things and
right.
that we're trying to think our way out of things using the conscious mind. So
Mhm.
high achievers, and I've been there, I'm like, ask me how I know. It's, you know,
Right there with you.
I always kind of felt like, and I know a lot of people that I work with feel this way, we're kind of like magic trick collectors, whether it's
Mhm.
courses, workshops, methods, modalities, podcasts, books, all these things, but
Yeah.
we're not always in the know about how to implement, how to
Mm.
actually bring those things into our life. And for me, and many people that I work with, we have found that the block is the nervous system or the subconscious. It's like we
Mm.
can know all the things, like surrounded by super smart people all the time. Like they know.
Right.
People will come to me to like have a call and they will tell me all the reasons why they're messed up, and
Mhm.
why
Yeah.
and how and everything else. And it's like, okay, so then why are you here? It's like they can't make that shift. They can't make that
Mm.
change. And it's usually the mind and the body that are getting in the way of that. So I think once people actually get to a place of burning out or really feeling like, man, I just cannot do it this way anymore, that's when they're willing to explore some other things that they haven't looked at before.
Right. Right. I know you were joking from like a magic standpoint, right? But like but still you what you do is you blend science
Mhm.
and energy work and spirituality in a way that somehow just feels very approachable and practical, right? And it's not preachy, which I appreciate. How do you balance all of that without losing people along the way? Because I would imagine some people might get lost along the way or anything like that. How do you find that balance between those things?
That's a good question. I probably do lose some people along the way.
Yeah,
I'll go worry
sure.
about that later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
But yeah, and it's difficult because there's so much that can be taught, right? I do a lot of workshops and I teach a lot and I get a lot of I get a lot of feedback and compliments on how easy I make it to understand
Sure.
the difficult concepts, but I don't really think you need to understand it to get the shifts either.
Mm.
So, there's probably some part of me that just wants to prove like, "Hey, I'm smart too." Like,
Mhm.
but,
Yeah.
and share that. But yeah, I mean, people, if they wanna understand it, I do feel like I can make it understandable. And if people just wanna shift and change, I feel like I can walk them through that without them understanding why or how it's happening.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. And I mean, and with these, like at these workshops, I would imagine, and in your own, personal time, you work with a lot of ADHD entrepreneurs, right? Is there a common, I guess, pattern that you see in how, because I'm an ADHD entrepreneur myself, and I feel as though sometimes we'll sabotage our own success. I say that from personal
Absolutely.
experience. Is there a common pattern that you see in how ADHD entrepreneurs sabotage our own success without even realizing it even sometimes?
Yes. So it's and it all comes down to safety, right?
Mm,
So it's getting really close to that thing because whatever we want to do, that next level as an ADHD entrepreneur is
mhm,
always unfamiliar, right? Even if we want it, and even if we wanted it since we were a little kid, if we haven't done it yet, it's still
mhm.
unfamiliar. So I find a lot of people that cross my path are very much obviously like me, and they've got 47
Sure.
tabs or got I say 47 tabs in their brain, but literally like I look at my computer, I think I have 111 open right now. There's and that's how my
Yeah.
brain is too. Like, and
Sure,
they've
sure.
got a lot going on. They usually feel disconnected from their purpose
Mhm.
and their vision because they've gotten so bogged down in whatever's happening on all those tabs, and a lot of it's like
Sure.
busy work. So helping them to like reconnect with their purpose, get grounded into their back into their body, and
Mhm.
um and feel that safety, that nervous system safety is what's lacking that keeps us from stepping into those new realms. And
Right.
and creating that safety. I just did a whole workshop yesterday actually, and one of the things that we talk about in it is I call it the safe trap, which is,
Mhm.
why you stall when you know better. And all that kind of things. Whole like,
Interesting.
I'll
Mhm.
start Monday kind of loop and things like that. And
Oh, I love this.
yeah,
Mhm.
SAFE is actually an acronym in this case. So we look at all the different like clever strategies that your system uses
Yeah.
to keep you in the land of the familiar, which would be the
Yeah.
S is like survival mode thinking. So I come across a lot of people where everything feels urgent, and rest
Mhm.
feels risky. And then what happens then is our worth gets tied to our output. And
I see.
yeah,
Mhm.
and then we end up living in the whole land of like, "Oh, I just need to get caught up," right? And we put
That's
off
that's me right now. That is me right now. Absolutely. Mhm.
yeah, so the
Mhm.
paradox that I had to learn the hard way, and I talk about this a lot in my book, is that, like, peace isn't the reward for productivity, it's actually the foundation
Mm.
for real power, and,
Mhm.
yeah, and then the A in that acronym is our avoidance of expansion, right?
Mhm.
Another way that we self-sabotage. Maybe we want more income, more visibility, more connection,
Right.
intimacy, vitality, whatever the case may be, vulnerability, but that expansion is the unfamiliar, so it registers as unsafe, and that means you
Mhm.
end up delaying, shrinking, busying yourself with, like, low leverage stuff. You're cleaning out the sock drawer or your junk drawer or whatever instead of doing the thing that actually
Mhm.
moves the needle, right? And
Right, right.
resistance is huge here. Resistance is actually one of the big reasons why a lot of people come to work with me, and, the funniest,
Mhm.
most ironic part of that, I think, Kai, is that usually the people that come to me to work on their like resistance or their frustration or whatever else take like 3 to 6 months to pull the trigger on doing the work because they're so
Oh,
resistant.
wow. Yeah.
So,
So how do we I wanna dive into that because I find that really fascinating. How fix me, Teresa. How do I No,
you're not
I'm half
broken.
joking. I
You're
know, I
not
know. I'm
broken.
half joking, but, like, what's funny is that, like, it is little things like that that people don't talk about often that are really important because there are times when I'll find myself resisting moving the needle by doing something that really is not it's like, sure, am I happy it's getting done? Sure, of course, but is it absolutely necessary for moving the needle? No, absolutely not. So when you're talking with people like that, like how does that conversation go? What do you tell them, and what do they end up putting off for 3 to 6 months that they should probably be doing immediately?
Yeah. So there's a lot of really good questions that we can ask ourselves here when it comes to, what it is that we really feel like we need when we are putting something off. And
Mm,
I I look at this like, what are you scared of? If you can
mm,
really like think about it in that moment, and if you can also really think about it from like the standpoint of like your inner child, you know?
mhm.
So the answers are not going to sound like super mature or anything, but it's like, what in the moment are you actually scared of that you're not doing the thing that you know would move the needle?
Right,
What
right.
do you maybe feel like embarrassed about or
Mm,
maybe feeling shame about or something else? And if you can bring that forward, that can be really helpful. And like, what do you need right now that you're not
mm,
getting? Those kind of questions can be really huge for being able to kind of move the needle on what the resistance is all about, and then getting a different result, or um, a different outcome. Because
mhm.
usually when we're avoiding something, there's fear, and that was kind of where I was getting to in that whole SAFE acronym, which is that
Yeah.
the F in SAFE is about fear-based decisions.
Mhm,
So that's, saying yes when you mean no, doing the low leverage task, staying quiet when you need to speak up, or even kind of
mhm.
like picking the thing that's safe instead of the thing that's like really soul aligned for you. Or even, and this happens a lot with people that resist things, is that they don't pick anything at all. And
Mhm,
not deciding is a decision with a result of its own.
mhm,
It just kind
mhm.
of like it's protection in a costume kind of a thing. So
Right.
I
Is that
al
where analysis paralysis can come into play sometimes? Like, if there
sure,
are too many choices, I guess, in a way?
absolutely. And
Mhm.
too many choices, and then it comes back to the whole uh brain fart. We can come Oh, I just had it in a second here, Kai. Okay, this is gonna come back to me. Um Oh,
I'm right there with you. Mhm.
you're not in touch with your vision and your values
Oh,
and things
sure,
like that,
sure.
because
Mhm,
you
mhm,
wouldn't be overwhelmed or in analysis paralysis about the
mhm,
next step if you're dialed in to the outcome that you really want and what you want to
mm.
align with. Because, overwhelm really only happens when we get ahead of ourselves, and
Yes.
overwhelm
Mhm.
and analysis paralysis have a lot in common.
Right, right,
So,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I wanna talk about the nervous system as well here
Okay.
because you call it the real CEO of the body, which I love. Why do you think why do you think our culture, I guess, glorifies hustle but neglects, in my opinion, nervous system health?
It's just not as, like, upfront and, like, sexy as, like,
Yeah,
the hustle
yeah,
and the strive, right?
yeah, mhm,
And it's conditioning too, and it's a lot of, like, patriarchy and things like that also.
mhm,
So,
mhm,
it's the feminine is what calls us to rest, relax,
mhm,
nourish,
mhm.
take care of ourselves.
Sure,
And then the masculine just says, push it, go, get it done,
yeah,
that kind of thing. And that's what has been, glorified for centuries.
mhm,
So a shift, even if it's a shift that ends up, making things better. I mean, there's plenty of people, men writing books about this kind of thing and everything else that will tell you, hey, double the amount of days that you take off, days that you rest, and your productivity and your profits are going to skyrocket,
mhm,
you know,
mhm,
that have come to understand that this more feminine side approach to things actually has major rewards for
yeah.
how we feel, how we be, and what happens in our lives, and how we embrace success from that place.
Right, right, and it's always tough because, like, especially those of us with ADHD, like, we feel things hard, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
we like, we feel them big, we feel them hard, we feel them strong, and so, I think a lot of times for ADHD adults out there, we feel like our emotions are constantly running the show, and I'm curious from your vantage point, how can things like EFT help, I guess, calm the chaos in the moment?
Well, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and most of the things that we are hung up on are our emotions or
Mhm.
our beliefs, which are not facts, right?
Mhm.
Or our
Mhm.
stories. We love our stories, and
Mhm.
most of us would rather cling to the stories than actually embrace a more
Yeah.
true thing for us. So, when you use something like EFT or hypnotherapy to really maneuver things in the subconscious mind, then
Mhm.
your beliefs shift and
Mhm.
your reactivity to something emotionally also changes. And
Right.
you open up the doors to be able to respond instead of react, to take the charge out of things that used to feel like totally icky. The E in the SAFE acronym that I have is about energy leaks. And
Mhm.
that's, if we look at ourselves kind of as like a battery and we have energy in this battery that is us, a lot of us are leaking large percentages of our battery power to the past, to
Mhm.
things that happened to us before, these stories that we've generated and conditioning and everything else. And then also leaking energy to future pacing, anxiety, future based stuff that's also not happening right now. And it leaves
Mhm.
us with very little left in the present. Right here, you and me right now is the only place I have any power. I can't,
Mhm.
go do something with my kids right now or, and take my business the next step forward or whatever else. Like I'm right here with you.
Mhm.
Present moment is all we
Right.
have. So how much power do I have right here, right now?
Sure. Mhm.
And that's
Right.
that's a lot of what the work that I do helps people with is bringing more of that power, closer to that 100% back into the
Mhm.
present, which is the only place you can do anything with it.
Right. Do you there's a belief, I guess, out there that ADHD brains need that chaos in order to feel alive. Do you think that's true? Or is it something that we've just learned to normalize?
I think it's conditioning. I mean, we
Yeah.
can get
Mhm.
pretty addicted to dopamine and
Mhm.
adrenaline and,
Right, right.
sneaking things in at the last minute. I love it.
Sure, sure, sure.
You
Mhm.
probably love it too. But it's
Mhm.
like, where does it become unhealthy or where is it like
Right.
holding you back from what you actually want?
Mhm.
Sometimes kind of gamifying our lives and enjoying
Mhm.
using and leveraging our ADHD with things like that is totally cool. Like, it's always
Yeah.
amazing, like, how much of my house I can clean up the half an hour before company comes over.
Oh
You
yeah. Oh
know?
yeah, it's a skill. It's like a that you want to talk about magic tricks.
Yeah.
If I knew whenever I know that somebody's coming over on last minute notice, man, this place gets cleaned up so fast. So fast. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
I wish I had this kind of energy
It's
just
like
just regularly.
where are the times and places that you can use that where it actually helps you and maybe even,
Mhm.
like, boost your productivity or whatever else? But
Right.
then there's,
Mhm.
clients that I'll talk to where, they're last minuting on, like, important deadlines for work. It's causing them major
Mm.
stress, and
Yeah.
usually what we find there is they don't yet have the safety to slow down in
Mhm.
order to get the traction they need to kind of speed up, so to speak. So
Mhm.
for me, learning how to actually plan was a big, like, ADHD advancement, and I'm not
Mhm.
talking about, like, go grab, like, a planner. I know it's getting to the end of the year right now, and it's like everybody ADHD is gonna go buy 1
Mhm.
or 6
Mm.
different new planners and think that
Yeah.
that's going to be the thing that solves everything for
Yeah.
you. I've tried many of them. I have not found one that I didn't create, like, myself for my own
Yeah.
stuff
Uh-huh.
that wasn't that helped much. So, planning, learning to plan, and learning to plan in a way that actually works with the ADHD was huge for me. But I tell you what,
Yeah.
it was not easy the first few times I did it in the way that I still do, which involves me actually taking an hour or more every week to look at the next week and figure
Mhm.
out what needs to go where, what that
Oh yeah.
actually looks like, everything else.
Mhm.
I was so incredibly resistant to it. Um, and I find that
Yeah.
a lot of people I come across are very resistant um, to-do lists, to planning, that kind
Mm.
of thing.
Mhm.
I think one of my most popular EFT videos, is is about resistance to, to-do lists and planning. So,
Sure,
it's,
sure.
uh, it's something
Yeah.
that, but once you can actually get your nervous system in a more calm and safe space, you can do it. You can do it.
Right,
And
right.
and it reinforces a loop that is really important, which is that we need to commit to something first. Like commitment is
Sure.
the first stage to getting more confidence. Because once we commit
Mhm.
to something, then we step into um, a level of bravery and courage.
Mhm.
And then the confidence comes from that. And it was no different with planning for me than kind of
Yeah,
stepping into the
absolutely.
loop that way.
Yeah, I like what I find really interesting is like I know you've worked with a lot of people that are extremely accomplished, and I have personally worked with people just by proxy that I've seen that are very accomplished. But one thing I found really interesting, especially after working with a private investor who's probably the most accomplished person that I know, yet he felt I could see how unfulfilled he felt still,
Yeah.
right? And I've seen this up in like, and even personally sometimes where like I'll have this like level of success, but sometimes still feel a little unfulfilled, right?
Sure.
Why do you think that emptiness sticks around even after we hit some of the biggest goals in our lives?
Hmm. So I think a lot of us have not been taught to celebrate
Yeah,
ourselves very well,
yeah.
um, or to understand the gratitude and appreciation for where we are and
Mhm,
where we have been. Um, I know when I was doing a lot of my own self work, I'm always doing a lot of my own self work, but I was in a period
mhm,
where I was like really immersed in understanding like pleasure more and
mhm.
how to leverage that and
Yeah,
learning how to like brag and how to, express
mhm,
desires and how to
mhm,
also express more gratitudes. It was huge. I think we're all kind of conditioned to kind of play small, and
mhm.
if we don't have a good outlet to actually celebrate these things that happen along the way, then they still kind of feel empty. I had the same thing
Yeah,
happen with my book. So, international bestseller out of the gates, great,
mhm,
but there was some part of me that felt unfulfilled because, like, that doesn't, like, make you a millionaire. Like,
mhm.
you know?
Yeah, sure.
Like,
Mhm,
it's a great, like, business card for my business. People resonate with it, and it's been, like,
mhm,
building over the years and had great
mhm.
success, but there was a part of me that felt like, "Oh, well, I'm not worthy of celebrating the fact that I'm an international bestseller." It's actually at a retreat about a year ago. So it was about a year after my book came out. My husband came with me. It was a beautiful experience for us together, a very like spiritual business retreat. And we were working with
Mhm,
like a medical intuitive and this group or whatever. And it was interesting because when it was my turn to talk about things and we got to this place where it was like, why am I not celebrating all of these things?
yeah,
And the
yeah,
medical intuitive that we were working with was like, just tell me like, 5 things that you're like super proud of that you've accomplished, in your business like this quarter or whatever.
mhm,
It was like my throat chakra just closed. It was like there was
yeah,
no exit for any of that, and I started to say things, and I just couldn't, and my husband's sitting right there, and he's like, "Well, I could name, like, 20, like, right off the bat on her behalf. Like, am I allowed to step in
mhm,
and do these things?"
yeah,
And I was actually really lovely, like, and he started, like, saying all of, "Hey, you saved this person's marriage. You did this. You
yeah,
got an international best-selling book. You've" some stuff with the kids, some stuff with other stuff. And he was just like spouting all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I know all of that stuff. But, it all culminated with me standing on a table and shouting at the top of my lungs that I'm an international best-selling author and
love it, love
that
it,
kind of thing.
love it,
It's like, if I couldn't do this work and I couldn't make these advances, I wouldn't feel like I could help other people do it either. Like I'm
mhm,
living it all the time, just like you are. And I
mhm,
think that's part of what makes it relatable. And it's also fun because I get to different next levels right alongside of other people while they do. I feel like,
yeah.
we're all just walking each other home. You know?
Absolutely. No, like really. And that's why I appreciate you when you say that you're still like working on these things yourself. It's not like, oh, I have everything figured out. I have everything solved and
No,
I'm like no, you're still working on this yourself and you've been very open about your ADHD journey, about your anxiety journey. And I'm curious like what's something about that journey that still challenges you even today?
there's so many things that still challenge me. I
Yeah.
mean, every time I go to look for a next level, I have to basically remind myself to stay in my own processes and things.
Mhm.
Um, I have a process that I call vision casting that I take my clients through and that I sometimes
Mhm.
teach workshops on, which helps me to connect with that vision and get myself into that frequency and feeling of like the wish
Mhm.
fulfilled. But I still struggle with that, or struggling with the contrast, I think is probably
Mhm.
one of the big things that, and
Yeah.
I don't even know if I call it a struggle, because it's, for me, it's like an awareness elevator. Like I have a very good way of being able to see things in a positive light at this point, where a lot of times it used to get me down before doing a lot of work. But I
Right.
will still have these days. Like, I think I was just walking with my husband on Monday morning, and we usually like lift weights together, and then we take a walk around the neighborhood or whatever in the morning. And that's one of my favorite times to talk. There's something about when you're just next
Right.
to somebody side by side, walking and moving. It's like all the good stuff kind of comes out. And
Yeah.
and I've had probably, I've had one of like the best months financially in my business, and yet
Nice.
yeah, it is, yay.
Yeah.
And
Celebrate it,
also
baby.
and also it's like I just, I lost a team member. I need to add people on. I'm
Yeah.
feeling like I'm, like so many other people, and I'll say it, but I don't actually mean it anymore, behind. Because that's what I hear from people
Yeah.
all the time. I
Mhm.
know inherently that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and that
Right,
there are
right.
different challenges that are being walked through right now, and then there's the contrast, my husband's a federal employee. We were dealing with a lot of stuff with shutdown and
Oh,
everything else.
sure, sure.
And, so even like me having like a fabulous month financially in the midst of him feeling that way, it's contrast,
Yeah,
So, but it's like
yeah.
how we deal with the contrast that really makes a difference.
Right.
And how we deal with things like comparison that sometimes come up in contrast. When we
Yeah.
see other people doing something similar or something that we want to be doing, or it
Mhm.
seems like from the outside that it's going better for them,
Yeah.
not always the case. So,
Yeah, I feel that often as like as a content creator, because I've just been learning how to like accept like it's hard for me to talk about myself sometimes, and
mm,
sometimes like people will like, especially if I meet somebody new, they'll be like, "Oh, you're a content creator?" And then I'll be like, "Yeah," and then they'll go on my platforms like, "Oh, you have a lot of followers." And I'm just like, "Yeah." And then like, but like, it's something I should be proud of because I worked very hard like over the course of 10 years to get to a point that I can say I
exactly.
have, 2 million people across all of my platforms. Like it's a thing that I should be proud of, but sometimes it's hard for me to celebrate that and all of that. And so I'm trying to rewrite that narrative in a way, and I know that's something
Yeah.
that you do as well, just from a self-reflection standpoint, but doing that is also emotionally heavy work,
Yeah.
right?
But
So
it's like,
like
what
how
would the you from 10 years ago say about
right.
where you today
Mhm.
is?
Oh man.
Like,
Oh
what,
man, but
seriously,
then
what would he
oh
say?
man, the me from 10 years ago would be number 1 very surprised because at no point, like, I mean, I was on social media but not doing the things that I do now. Like to say that I'm in my 6th year of my podcast, to say that, I am able to go around the world and people will recognize me. Like I was in Barcelona last week and there was a person in Barcelona that's like, "Oh, I follow you." I'm like, "What?" Like people that like they would have never knew that I existed, and to know that me sharing my ADHD mental health journey could affect people from around the world is such a cool feeling. So the me from 10 years ago, I never would have imagined this.
Yeah.
Um and like, but it fills my cup to hear people's stories and to whenever somebody writes me and says, "Hey, your funny video that you put up about this, it helped me explain to my therapist how I'm feeling,"
Yeah.
like that. Like it's a very fulfilling thing. Do you get to how do you fill your cup? Because like that kind of stuff fills my cup. How do you fill your cup at the end of the day with this emotionally heavy self reflection that you and your family do?
Uh, Gratitude and appreciation are probably at
Mm,
the forefront there. Sounds
mm-hmm.
cliche, but just really,
No, yeah.
just kind of feeling, I mean, if I look around where I am now too, like, just like you, I'm like, I live in a house I never would have dreamed like,
Yeah.
gorgeous, beautiful home. I
Mhm.
never planned to have 4 boys. I thought maybe 1,
Yeah.
maybe 2, I don't know, but it's perfect. They're
Yeah.
wonderful. They improve me every day just by being themselves,
Yeah.
and there's so much to be grateful for, and it beats the alternative, right? I mean, we can compare, and it's like, that part of you that's still kinda struggling with things, I have that too, and
Mhm.
it's that not enoughness, right? We've all
Yes.
got it conditioned in. I love hypnotherapy for that, by the way. That's one of my favorite
Yeah.
things to use that
I like that, not
but
enoughness.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a not enoughness, and, um but we are enough, and it's getting to that place
Yeah.
where we understand that, like, "Hey, eh, back then I did the best I could with what I had, right now I'm doing the
Mhm.
best I can with what I have," and just staying in your own lane too. I mean,
Mhm.
my little girl self thinks that what I'm doing these days is freaking phenomenal, like, she's, like, thrilled with
Mhm.
everything that we've gone through and how it's turned out, and yet
Yeah.
47-year-old me sitting here is like, "Oh, we got a ways to go." Like, we're just getting started, you know? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's the contrast, but it's so interesting too because, you're kinda like, "Oh, well, maybe, like, you could be doing more with the social media or whatever else," and, like,
Yeah.
I see
All
what
the
you're doing,
time.
and I'm,
All the
like,
time.
blown away. I'm
Mhm.
like, "Man, you got, like, over 1,000,000 followers on TikTok and stuff," and I'm like, "That's
Yeah.
just so cool." I kinda gave up on TikTok. It was like um, and just having that knowledge, like, I can pick your brain and be
Yeah.
so incredibly excited about, like,
Yeah.
everything, all the wisdom and everything that you have inside of you because I feel like I'm lacking that.
Mm.
You see that?
Mhm.
And
I do. Yes. Mhm.
yeah, but,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you want your kids to take away from the work that you do? Because like you talk about your 4 boys a lot, and I'm curious if there's something like as you do your work, like obviously you do it for you, you help out so many people outside of your life, but like obviously you have your family. Is there one message that you hope your kids will absorb just from watching how you live and how you work every day?
The simplified version of that is that they are enough.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I
Yeah.
my kids were a lot of the inspiration for this to begin with. Like, when I first encountered EFT tapping, some of the first things I used it on were, like, the frustrations I would have with being a
Yeah.
mom of 4 and trying to fit everything in and feeling like I was, like, living in the cracks of my day, trying to fit in my own
Sure.
purpose and everything else because 'cause I'm, like, the recovering yelling mom, right? And,
Yeah.
but when I started doing that and realized, like, even just with, like, a few rounds of EFT in, all of a sudden I'm, like, responding to them differently. I'm calmer. I
Yeah.
can take a pause. It's like, "This is so worth it." And then, your kids never really wanna do, like, the stuff that you're doing, especially when it's this. Like, we're not having, like, family EFT sessions or anything. But I do see my oldest is in college, and I see the way that he reflects differently because of, like, what I've
Mm.
exposed him to, and he talks
Mhm.
more openly and vulnerably, and, like, just the way that he treats other people and things through what he's experienced. My youngest is still, like, willing to, like, do some EFT and some stuff with me.
Yeah.
I'm not quite
Yeah.
uncool yet, but yeah, I mean, there's an openness and a vulnerability that comes through in being exposed to these kind of things and to seeing what I do.
Yeah.
My 12-year-old wants to work for me. Like, as soon as I can actually take the time to slow down and figure out, like, where can I, like, input him, like, you
Yeah.
know, on my social media, I don't know, but I probably do
Yeah.
better than I do. But, it's like it's cool. It's cool that they actually think that, like, what I'm
Yeah.
doing is neat. They can see, like, and respect the entrepreneurial side of it, and
Mhm.
it inspires them to maybe do something of their own instead of
Mhm.
just, getting into the cog of, society and the expectations and, work
Yeah.
work really hard, maybe retire with enough money to do something, die.
Right.
Like, it's
Right.
like
Right.
there's better options out there. So,
Right. Right.
yeah, but I
This
mean,
this
I
is
just
why
think
I
that are enough.
appreciate you. That's why I appreciate you so much because of I mean you're affecting lives in such a positive way, not just like the people that you work with every day, but again, like you said, like your family, like to the point that your 12-year-old wants to like work with you. I think that says a lot about who you are and what you bring to the table and how I guess how important this work is overall, because even somebody that's 12 years old can see the importance of it and
Yeah.
can see how amazing this is. And I appreciate your time, your energy, your insight. I have one more question for you,
Yeah.
and that is, if there's one thing that the people watching or the people listening can take away from this episode today? If there's one thing you want them to leave with, what is that one thing?
That whatever that next level that they think they're striving for right now
Mm-hmm.
is, that it is not only possible for them, but that they can let it be easy. They don't
Mm-hmm.
need to prove and push and hustle and strive, that good things are available to you in,
Mm-hmm.
countless possible ways, and that a little bit of work with the mind and the body can do wonders.
Absolutely. I love that. This is such a great conversation. And I love when an episode leaves me both calm and thinking. And I feel like you like people like you, or you do that the best. Like, you remind me that peace doesn't have to wait until after the chaos
Right.
ends, right? You can create it right now. We're right in the middle of it right now. And so I appreciate you, and friends that are watching and that are listening right now. If you connected with this conversation today, if you connected with what Theresa shared today, go check out her book, Becoming More Me, Tapping into Success: The Subconscious Secrets of an ADHD Entrepreneurial Mom. The link for that will be in the show notes of this episode. So all you have to do is click, and also visit her community online. Is it Theresa Lear Levine.com, right? If I'm not
That's the
mistaken.
best place.
Yep.
If you go to that website, you can get the
Yeah.
link for my community, which is honestly, like, the coolest thing to
Yeah.
join. That's where you can get all the
Yeah.
information on my free workshops, all that kinda stuff. The
Hmm.
link for my book is right on my website. You can book a call with me.
Perfect.
Everything's right there on my website. And then, I think Kai and I are gonna do a little EFT tapping after this
We
episode,
are.
and if you
Yeah.
wanna get in on seeing that, just go to theprivatesessions.com, and I will send you a
Ooh.
resource that is going to have our video of tapping, plus there's, like, 75 other videos, so you can pick a topic that resonates with you and actually
Yeah.
get a shift that you can feel right then and there.
And just like that, season 6 is in the books. I want to send a massive thank you to my guest, Theresa Lear Levine, for hanging out with me on today's episode. Man, I have to tell you, my biggest takeaway from the conversation today was the concept that peace isn't the reward for productivity, it's the foundation for power. That hit me right here in the chest. I think so many of us, myself included, are guilty of falling into that safe trap that she talked about, living in survival mode and avoiding expansion. I really appreciated how she made things like EFT and the nervous system regulation just feels so approachable and real and not just woo-woo. If you connected with Theresa's energy as much as I did today, please go check out her book, Becoming More Me, and join her online community. She also has a library of tapping videos that are available at theprivatesessions.com. All of those links are waiting for you right now in the show notes. All you have to do is click and go show her some love. Before we officially wrap up this season, a quick reminder to come hang out with me on social media at The Vibe with Kai. Head over to thevibewithkai.com for my digital store. I've got ADHD guidebooks and audiobooks and those deep dive videos to help you navigate this journey of adult ADHD and just mental health in general. And also, don't sleep on my Patreon page, my friend. For only $5 a month, you get that exclusive premium content that I don't post anywhere else. For this episode specifically, you can catch a segment where Theresa actually performs EFT, some tapping therapy on me, and I have it secured for my subscribers. It's exclusively made for them. So go check it out. Go subscribe. If you enjoyed this season, please take 2 seconds to like and subscribe, and most importantly, leave a review. It helps more people like us find the show and join our little Viber community we got going on over here. Once again, thank you so much for watching and for listening. As always, my friends, much love, good vibes. I'll catch you next season. Bye.